The best part of your week is about to begin. This is the time where we talk shop, swap stories, and share lessons from our wild adventures in the creative industry. With each and every lovingly crafted episode, we strive to bottle that magic, warm, electric feeling you get after coffee with a new friend or attending a fantastic breakout session at a creative conference. You might start as strangers, but you'll leave as friends. Buckle up, settle in, and get ready for this episode of Making a Mark. Hello and welcome. We're back, guys. It's 2023 and I'm feeling so good. It's a great day to be alive, and I am joined as always by my wonderful co-host who was almost married into August Burns Red, Ashley Ulmer.
Yeah, I love that intro. It was close, but little, yeah.
And to clarify for our audience here, it wasn't you almost married someone in the band. Your husband almost, he was like the runner-up to being bass player. Is that right?
Yes, he was the runner-up to their current bass player, Dustin, which like he would say this too. Like it was no competition. Like Dustin is like incredible. So like, but it was them two that auditioned and they picked Dustin over him. But Dustin's still in the band to this day. But I don't know. It would have been weird if he would have made it. I don't know if we would have. I don't know. We would have been married at the time. It'd be hard because he'd be traveling a lot.
Married to a musician is tough. That is a tough family gig. Ashley, how are you doing? I feel like I haven't seen you in like 14 weeks, but it's really only been like 2 or 3 weeks. And
I know because the holidays
I'm glad to be back here.
The holidays were crazy. Like it seemed like it was a long time. No, we're doing good. I mean, all my entire family got sick during like winter break at some point.
Merry
so
Christmas.
That was kind of made it. Yeah. I mean, it was fine. Christmas was good. I got sick on later Christmas, but it's fine. We're all good now. But how was your Christmas, New Year?
Everybody gets Mucinex in their stockings. That's the real dream. No, we're good. I am realizing every year I try and leave some margin before Christmas. I did a good job this time, so I can like detox, get some stuff done, and not be just a total dillweed to my family, like coming out of like power through mode of like December to, okay, now it's time to relax and be fun, dad. Like, so did a good job on that. What I'm never ready for though, is the flip side of that, which is like gearing back up out of vacation brain into like back at full speed. I mean, we were even talking about before the show, like I feel like fuzzy and unprepared, and I've been working for 2 weeks already. Like, I don't know at what point I'm going to feel like normal equilibrium Josh, but we're not there yet. So who knows what's going to happen today?
Yeah.
What are we talking about today?
We're talking about consistency versus sustainability, which in the green room, we talked about this a little bit. I'm very interested to see what everyone has to say about this, because to me, I think they kind of go hand in hand. So I don't know. I'm interested.
Indeed. I feel like we got some interesting ways to take this one. But before we jump into that, I would love to go ahead and bring our two guests on the stage. And guys, if you have somebody you would love to see on this show, just leave a comment. Let us know. We'll try and get them. That's how both of these amigos made it. First of all, we've got Reuben Rohard and also Rohn Starling.
There we go.
I'm so excited.
Did I say your names right? We're really just booked guests based on alphabetical order. I was just scrolling through my local phone book and saw the two R's next to each other. I said, oh, well, these guys must be available for the show.
Easy peasy.
There you go. Well, this is the background meme, is that it's actually Reuben Rohard, but then you uploaded it as Reuben Rohard, and then I just put it back. Yeah, I've got to be careful with that last name, haven't I?
The R&R, that's all it is.
That's a tough one. I'll say this. I'm probably batting like 150 on getting guest names right out of the gate. Like usually that's half of the green room conversations. Like, how do you actually say your name? I'm just guessing.
That is hilarious.
Because to some degree, by design, like this conversation, I love meeting people for the first time here because I feel we get that raw, authentic, crisp conversation.
This is literally our first time all basically meeting, other than the 2 seconds right before this. Yeah. So this is raw.
That is the dream. All right. We're going to be doing this whole thing round robin today. So it'll be Ashley, Reuben, Ron, and then I will, if you guys have seen the show before, like I can't control myself. I am a child. I will jump between everyone else's answers and add some little spice and maybe some other echoing thoughts. But that's going to be our order. We'll keep that same order for intros. Ruben, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so if you couldn't tell by the strange accent, from the UK, 25 years old, which makes me feel quite old now. I remember saying I was like 22.
I know.
So I'm getting on in years. Yeah,
Babies.
no, I don't. That's no offense to anyone who's older in this room.
I'm a lot older.
And I'm a graphic designer, and I've been doing this mainly with churches and other nonprofit organizations for the last 7 years. But I went full-time freelance 3 years ago, nearly 3.5 years ago. And that was, just a huge move for me. And just been enjoying it ever since then. And so now I get to do cool stuff like this, join you guys on a podcast.
Nice.
Love it, man. We're glad you made it.
Yeah, I didn't know you've been doing this for 7 years, man.
Yeah. It's gone by pretty quickly. I used to work for a church. So that was the first 4 years. And then I kind of went and worked for some other churches in the last 3 years. So, yeah.
Wow. What time is it where you're at, Ruben?
6:06 and 17 seconds.
Okay.
AM or PM?
AM. 6:06 AM.
Yeah, 6 a.m. No, I would not look.
Oh, wow.
I would not be this
No,
awake.
he's ahead of us.
He's ahead of us.
The way the Earth
Also,
moves.
Saturday.
No,
it's not Saturday.
Eastern
It's
time.
PM.
Right?
PM. Okay, yeah, so it's PM.
He's
You
living
said
in the
PM.
future.
That's why I'm confused.
Yeah,
He's in next week,
6:06
Tuesday.
PM.
Yeah, he's like he's already in February right now. It's like February 2024 there. Yeah.
We're in the future
Episode
over
16 of Making a Mark, we'll talk about how time zones work, and it'll be very insightful for all of us, because that's literally why I started using Calendly. Is I just kept missing calls and vice versa, because I was bad at time zone math. So it's like, just book what's in the calendar and let me know if we need to do something else. All right, Ron.
Hey,
we're gonna start adding that. What time zone are you in?
So I'm in Central CST, Central Standard Time Zone. I'm currently in Tulsa, Oklahoma. But my name is Rohn Starling. I'm from Brooklyn, New York. I'm 27 years old. And so whenever younger people say that they feel old, I automatically feel old. So I just want to throw that out there.
Sorry.
This is great. Let's see, I don't even know how to explain it, but I got saved when I was like 16. And then the next year I started serving, and I ended up in kids ministry. I don't know how that happened. It was literally the grace of God. But within that, I ended up doing a lot of creative things and designing for our kids ministry. And I was like, maybe I could do this outside of kids ministry. And then I, shortly after that, started doing social media for my church. Did that for like about a year. And then I did freelance for like 2 or 3 years. And then one random day, a church was like, yo, you want to move to Oklahoma? And I was like, no, I don't. I don't want to move to Oklahoma. There's a lot of prayer, a lot of turmoil, a lot of questions. And by the end of everything, and 2 rounds of interviews and a total of probably about a year, I ended up moving out to Oklahoma a year later. And now I work at a church called Transformation Church here in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Nice.
Wow.
Some random church.
Yeah.
Transformation Church. That's great. I caught
Where's that?
Yeah,
I have such a story about that, actually. So can I tell the story, or am I?
Yeah. It's great.
So when I got hired, I was like, yo, this is crazy. Like, I love this church. I'm so excited. I feel like everyone knows about this church. And then like right when that was all happening, I got asked to speak at a youth ministry. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, I'm going to go ahead. We're going to tell them the story about how I became creative, yada, yada, yada. I'm hype, right? So I build up all this anticipation and tell them about like how I got hired at this church called Transformation Church. And in my mind, they all knew. So in my mind, they're all going to be like, yo, that's so crazy. Like, I'm so stoked for you. They were like, what's that? I was like, never mind. I'm never hyping up my church before I say that I work there ever again.
I will say I think it's more like regional. I had heard of Transformation. I did feel like I was living under a rock, because I had no idea who you were until somebody several people recommended you for the show when we were asking back in December. And they're like, how have you not heard of Ron? I was like, I don't know, but here we are. Man.
I'm just a guy.
Yeah, I love it. But I'm continually like, I am that same person on both sides of that conversation, like walking in the room, be like, who's this church? And finding out like, oh, it's like, they're very influential in this part of the country or in this part of the world. And like, I've just never heard of them.
For sure.
And I feel like a lot of that comes down to like your denomination and the region you're in, and some of those things. And like the big deal in town may not matter even the next state over. But anyway, guys. Let's talk about sustainability. We're coming out of Christmas, coming out of holiday, coming out of veg out mode into, okay, let's learn from last year. Let's go into next year. And so I assume everybody's kind of naturally bubbling up, or at least seeing social posts that they should be doing these things. Like, all right, what am I going to be intentional about now? At least that's how I am framing the consistency versus sustainability conversation here. Ashley, you're up first.
Yes.
I know this. I'm super excited to be first because I don't really know what I'm going to say, but so I'm just going to kind of like fly by the seat of my pants right now.
Who knows what's about to come out of my mouth hole?
No, but like I was saying, I feel like consistency and sustainability kind of go hand in hand. But the way I kind of think of it is consistency for me personally would be like consistently creating and working on new ideas, whether that's new things I want to accomplish, like since it's the new year, being consistent and constantly working on something, versus sustainability for me would be like how I would sustain my actual business. So like I would think of it as like consistency would be being consistently creative, whether that's creating something all the time or daily or every other day. And sustainability would be being able to sustain my business, like whether that's through, retainers, like monthly retainers, or like monetarily. That's like kind of how I would think of it.
Yeah.
But like I said, I'm interested to hear what everyone else says, because I think they really go hand in hand. I think you kind of need to be consistent to be sustainable.
Ruby Cubes, you were the one that asked this question, right?
Yeah, because I think it's an interesting conversation. And Ash, I would say great job, because consistency and sustainability go hand in hand when you're doing a good job at keeping those both in check.
Yeah.
But I think some people can take the consistency too far and then lose the sustainability. And some people can take the sustainability too far and lose the consistency. So
interesting.
The reason why this was a versus question is because I think there is a real balancing act.
This is going to be a great conversation.
I'm looking forward to it.
All my friends listening right now, this is about to go down. This is a great conversation.
Well, this is why I'm excited to have you, Ron, as well, because I'm coming at it from an outside church perspective. And a lot of this is my own personal kind of Instagram work. How do I keep this going? And then Josh as well. Obviously, you've got tons of these projects coming through all the time, whether it's logo stuff or whether it's branding, whatever that is. Ash as well with the illustration. Yeah. And then Ron with you inside a church, and then also with all the social stuff and all the different channels that you have. The real question is, when it comes to consistency is, well, I guess it's a question for everyone. I'd be interested to know, but kind of how do you keep a regular pace on things? And then also how do you, for example, like Christmas time, we can all take a break, right? Like we can all take time off, but social media doesn't stop. And unless you like actively say like, we're taking 2 weeks off, someone still needs to post, or someone needs to schedule, and you can't schedule hashtags, you can't post the stories, like someone's got to be there. So like Ron, coming from a church like Transformation, I'm just going to throw this out there so we can kind of move around in the circle. How do you deal with this kind of stuff?
Okay, so here's the thing. I think the answer to both, like the connection to both words, is systems. If you don't have a system, you can't win, because like I think a lot of people are like, oh, I'm just gonna like do it off hip. Like that's great, that's awesome. And then you gotta have that admin person that's like, hey, I really need this structure, and if this structure works, we can really cohesively work together and never run dry. We'll never run out of content. We'll never be in deficit, because if you feed the machine properly, you're gonna get the output that you necessarily need. But then like the creative in me, or the creative in us, is usually thinking, but wait, how can I make things in a system? You have to leave spaces open. Like the things that need to be consistent, I don't want to think about it. If I have to think about it, it's going to cause extra time. It's going to cause confusion. You're going to have to communicate that with another person. But the more that you have solid systems, to the point where most people don't have to think, and you run the same play, you'll never lose. And like literally what we do at TC, like I'm giving, this is like secret sauce. We run the same play. That's it. We just run the same place.
Yeah, I made a note, and take this as you will, but basically my idea around that was consistency without planning is wishful thinking, in the sense of like, if you don't have, like you say, a system or a plan, it's just like, and this is the thing, like, I guess I talked about this in my stories the other day, and this is kind of what prompted this question, a conversation. and I was taking 2 weeks off. So I'm technically still on vacation until Monday. And so I took 2 weeks off over Christmas. Yeah, no, you're fine. This is fun. This isn't work. And so I basically scheduled from the 23rd all the way until the 9th, essentially. And I posted about it and showed my spreadsheet, and everyone's like, "What? You have a spreadsheet for your content?" And I've been doing this spreadsheet for 3 years. And every year I start a new spreadsheet, and it's every month, and every day I have listed, and it's like it's pretty tight and locked down. But I would not be able to keep up consistent posting without some kind of plan.
Yeah,
and I think when I first started, I didn't have that plan, and there would be days where I would there was one day where I had to go to the hospital. It wasn't like super urgent, but I just needed to go, and I didn't have a post ready that day. And I remember the whole time I wasn't worried about basically there was something wrong with my eye. And I'd actually, it'd been overstrained, but when I called the doctor, they were like, "You need to go to the ER just to get it checked over." So I sat in the ER, and that day I couldn't get a post out, and I spent more time thinking about the post that I couldn't get out than I did about my own health. And I realized at that point that it was more, I've got to really focus on the sustainability piece. How do I plan forward and make sure that if I do have these days, and there's 2 people here with kids, Josh and Ash, you guys both have kids, and I know that from family and stuff is that kids throw spanners in the works quite a lot, and
you never know what
unexpected things that happen. And if you're going to be consistent, you've got to have that contingency plan, and that only comes from having systems. So I love that, Ron. Great thought.
That's glad that we're on the same page.
That specific note reminds me of like newspaper editors or like columnists that I've heard where they'll have those pre-written articles like just sitting in the bottom of their desk. They're like, this is not like time sensitive, this isn't whatever, it's just like ready for my backup day kind of archive here. And I feel like you could have the same thing from a social calendar standpoint, like this thing will be nice to just like throw out there when I'm missing my day, or
which is actually really funny that you mentioned that, because like how I formulated a lot of my creativity was because one of my the person I learned how to take pictures from worked for the newspaper. So I picked up a lot of things and how she kept things organized and how she thought through things and how meticulous she was. And like when she went on a shoot, and I was like, oh, so what you're saying is this is not as complex as you think, as people say it is. I just need to essentially have a nice order and system of things that I do.
Yeah.
So that's funny.
No, I'm big on that. All right.
So Josh, do you as far as your social stuff, do you schedule your stuff as well? Like, am I the only one who's see, for me, that's like my biggest struggle in life, but also in my business is creating systems and planning. Cause that's just I don't know. It's so hard for me. Like it's so much easier for me to just be have a creative idea and just put it out there.
Just go.
Yeah. I've never planned anything. And I know that works against me because just like you said, Ruben, some days I'll be like, oh shoot, I haven't done anything today, which I'm personally wanting to try to get away from that because I don't want to have to feel like I have to feed that every single day. But also if there was a system in place, then I wouldn't have to be on there every day. You know what I mean? And it would still do its thing. So I don't know.
I mean, I'm not systematic at all. No. I'm sorry.
No, you go. No, go for it.
I'm actually the most non-systematic person ever. I pick up on consistencies and I can see when things kind of flow in that way. But my whole life is not, I don't plan anything. I don't plan, I don't know what I'm going to eat. I don't know what I ate. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know where I went.
That's exactly how I am. I don't do that.
My phone knows where I'm going. So it's like, oh, dude, you're going to work. Oh, how did you? Yes, I'm going to work. So but really what I've figured out was years ago when I first got hired, I found this girl who was in my small group, and she was like, hey, I want to learn creativity. And I was like, hey, I can tell that you're just a structured person. I'll trade you every ounce of creativity that I have for your structure. And you just you be my assistant and I'll help you with whatever you want. I'll even pay for you need food, I'll figure that out. But she helped organize my life, and I in turn traded the creativity for it. And then we literally mixed the two, and it was this perfect storm of, hey, I come up with the creative content and you just help me structure it. And I'll never run out of things to create if you come up with the structure for it. So and half of it was her just writing down my ideas and then putting it in the right place. And then also saying hey, you said this, I think you should do this today. I think you should do that next week. And this is not that important. You can do that next month. But like that whole I just needed a strong administrative person in my corner.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes, I have that definitely as far as like the business side of my, because my husband's very structured in that and he helps me with that kind of stuff. But as far as like the creative day to day, like when I'm here working, if I have like this week, for instance, has been slow for me. So like I'm trying to like launch this new brand I'm doing and all this stuff. And so like I just have all these creative ideas, but then I think I need to get that structure of like, okay, like you said, like this should go out today, or no, maybe this should wait and we should wait for a couple weeks for this. Like I struggle with that,
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Also, congratulations on the new business that you're launching.
Oh, thank you.
I'm excited to see more about that. But I guess as well, actually, it kind of depends on your goals as well, right? Like, like is your goal to daily post content? Like if it's not, then you don't have to keep to that rule. I think consistency is not about frequency. It's about how often. It's just about what kind of if you do it once a week, it's how you set it up. So it's not, for you, I guess if you're happy with 3 times a week, 4 times a week, whatever that is, and you're meeting that goal and that's sustainable for you, that's great. I guess for me and for Ron, potentially we're kind of coming more from the angle of, well, this is something that the goal is to get this content out on a daily basis or 6 days a week. How do we do that with balancing other projects? Because I don't get paid to do stuff on Instagram. So how do I balance that with actual work where my clients need something on time? And I'd love to spend all day just making posts, but that doesn't keep a roof. That doesn't keep a roof over our heads. So I think it's just what your goal is.
Yeah, that's true. Like that has so much to do with a lot of things. Like, because at work we have to communicate to a community and let them know what's happening, what God has been doing, not just in our lives, but what God can do in their life. We need to literally give them the word, and then honestly 17 million other things. And because that's also what our goal is, it's so easy to be consistent. It's never like, dude, we have to post today. It's more so like, dang, what do we say today? Like at this point, we have so much to say. But then on my own personal page, sometimes I get so caught up in it. I'm like, I don't feel like posting. And for the last probably 2-3 months, I have not been in the mood to post. And to be honest, I'm okay with that. And whenever I make something, it just works. And like, I'm totally okay with having one post a month, but then that one post a month does like 40K. And I'm like, you know what? I'll take a little break. I'm cool for a little bit.
Yeah.
So,
that's great. I would say too, and where the conversations has kind of bubbled up for me is you don't want to create systems and goals for yourself that suck the life out of the thing for you. Part of the sustainability is like, yes, I need the money to work or the passion, whatever the thing to work, but I also need to have that grit to keep showing up regardless of the pace, regardless of the platform. And I feel like we're talking all about social mostly right so far in this conversation, but just in terms of the effort you're putting into the thing, like there's just something to be said for don't get off the bike. Like you've got to keep pedaling, keep going, because so many times I've seen
this guy.
I didn't know where I was like exactly where I was going. Like I couldn't see around the bend. But if I'd stopped at, like step 600 when I needed to get to step 700 to go like, oh, like we're pivoting to mostly logos now, because, day one, I was thinking, how am I going to feed my family doing $200 sermon series for youth groups? Right.
Yeah.
I was like, but this is the next step I know to take. Let me go do this thing. And I loved like what kept me sustained through that was I love the people. I love like what I'm getting to do. I love the work. And so there is still that, the destination is worth what I'm doing right now. That like there is joy as you're walking through it. But if you are waiting for that finish line or that payoff at any step along the way, like I think you're going to be disappointed and frustrated and potentially like put unrealistic pressure on specific little moments. Like you can do so much in a decade, and people overestimate how much they can do in a week or in a month. And like, if you just chip away little by little, like you can do some crazy stuff.
I like this guy.
Thanks, Ron.
Josh is pretty cool. And
I like this guy. Wow. You've been saying everything that's been on my mind for like the last couple weeks in just probably 45 seconds. But pause, time out for like 3 seconds. Okay. How are we doing $200 sermon series for youth ministries? That's like one graphic.
It was that was how Bright Coal started. I don't know anybody here. Day zero, we've got no clients. I don't even know if the business model works. Like, you know, smart people were telling me like, Josh, this I don't think it's going to work, right? And so I said, hey, I'm going to test it out. And I would rather be too busy and have something to do, because like what that allowed me to do is have conversations with people and get in the door and like practice doing the work in a way that if I had said my rate is 900 and I'm not talking to anybody for less than that, like I would have blown up in the hangar. Like it would not have survived.
That's true. Yeah.
Same.
I'm learning so much about communication, and like, because like who didn't start there? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, yeah, I'll do a video for like $75. And I was like, what am I need to do 100 of those to make enough to like be comfortable. But like, I was talking to a potential client yesterday, and I was like, hey, you're going to need these things. And have you thought about this? And when you put these together, this is what this looks like. But my rate for all that together is this, and this. And the way that like I said it, I was like, dang, I would purchase that. But at the end of the day, I was like, I just secured a bag. Like wow, I like that.
That's the sales machine working. Right. Josh in the comments has a fantastic question, or not question, but kind of like note here that I would love for us to give an example maybe from our lives. Using systems is a really great muscle to be worked, but it has to be a tool to serve you, not the other way around. Like you can't be beholden to this thing that's supposed to be helping you. And I think that's a fantastic kind of way of looking at systems. Because I mean, Ash, you know, I end up talking about systems on like 3/4 of these calls we do. But like maybe there's an example in your life, like you're talking about, where you know, you either worked into a system that's doing really well for you, or you're like you set, and I think New Year's resolutions are a prime example of this for people. Where they're like, oh, I actually thought I wanted this. I don't want this that much. And getting there also is awful.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, I guess since we're talking about the social media thing, like for me, like, and I've talked about this in the past, like a system that I created a couple of years ago is I like, you know, my husband and I talked about it, and I was like, I want to be really consistent as far as posting on social media so I can kind of get my art out there and, you know, get my name out there. So for, I think it was like 2.5 years, every day I created something new. And so that was like kind of a system. It's a system, but it was also kind of like, you know, free flowing in that I didn't know what I was going to create that day. I just would create and post it no matter what, do that every single day. And so I guess that was kind of a system that worked, but then also in doing that, it also became kind of like, you know, Josh said, it almost became like a master in a sense where I felt like if I didn't do it, I was going to let like myself down. Like nobody cared if I did it or not. But like, for me, it was almost like I felt like a conviction to do it, which like, I don't know. Now looking back on it, I'm like, there shouldn't have even been that there. I don't know. Like there's no reason for me to feel that way over posting on social media. You know what I mean? I don't know. I think, I could see that. Like when I try to set goals and I try to implement systems, which is difficult for me. If I actually do set a system and set like a, you know, plan of I'm going to do this every single day, I'm like the kind of person, if I don't do it, then I get super down on myself. Like I'm like, oh, I let myself down, and then I'm serving that, you know, as my master, I guess, in a sense. So
that makes sense. Rube.
Yeah, I mean, there's good conviction, bad conviction, right? So like we're driven by a conviction of some kind, whether that's good or bad. And I think when Ron, you were talking about feeding the machine, and I think I've definitely felt the feeding of the machine, but the feeding of the machine isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's like what the output of that is. So are you feeding the machine for reach or likes? Are you feeding the machine for praise or adoration? What's your reason for feeding the machine? Because the system's built to feed the machine, and if you're feeding the machine for the wrong reason, then the system, you're then serving something that is not necessary. So I think it all comes back to like, why are you doing it? It's goal setting, it's purpose driven. And then from there, like the system becomes a tool to help you achieve the purpose. It doesn't become the thing that you serve. But yeah, I do understand, like there was a point in 2021 when I had set the goal to post every day and do a video on YouTube every week. And I had that conviction and I did it the whole year. And I got to the end of 2021 and I thought, I'm just going to not do YouTube for a year. I just kind of didn't set the expectation and just left. Well, in fact, I didn't like set that as a goal. I just didn't set an expectation that year to do anything. And it was really refreshing for me. But I did feel at the end of the year, I was just feeding a machine and I couldn't work out the reason why I was doing it. So I had to take a reset and a refocus. And then like I was able to pick up and realize like, what the reason I was doing it for. So yeah,
that's the ticket right there. That the why am I doing this? You need to spend time marinating in that, deciding, is this goal worth it? Like, do I care enough about getting to point B that I will go through the steps to get there? And that might mean pivoting. It might mean your goals are wrong, but whatever. But there's going to be days, basically every week, I sit down when I'm thinking about budgeting, setting up social posts, doing some of the parts of the business that when I sit down to do it, I'm not excited about it. But I know that like, hey, if I don't do this, I don't get to keep doing this fun thing that I love. Yeah. And like, I think that's where you build your routines, your rhythms, your systems that help you do those things based, like you work backwards from, I want to get here. What's the best way to get here that I know of right now? It is, we keep talking about social, it's posting 5 times a week. Okay. I got to post 5 times a week. What does that mean in terms of the next 90 days? What's the best way for me to do that? And, I think we've all got different levels of intensity with the systems here. Like Reuben's spreadsheet thing gives me gas. And every time I hear any talk about a social calendar, I go, I now all the ideas just dried up. Like I can now think of nothing to post.
Yeah,
that's so funny because when you said gas, I was like, yo, I'm gassed. But you meant like gas.
Thanks. No, the other gas. I'm out.
That is so funny. So has anyone ever read the book Start With Why by Simon Sinek? It's like
I've seen the TED talk, but I haven't read the book.
I've heard it. I've heard I should read it about 60 times.
I'm telling you 61 times because there's very few books that I'm like, I'm dead set on reading. That's one of like my top 5 books. And then also pairing that with just really anything that Gary Vee says, because I think he's a genius, but he coined the whole reverse engineering for me. So if my why is my initiative, because people buy into why you do things, not exactly what it is that you do. So let's just say I was making posts, like screw anything, like it don't need like whatever. I was only making my posts so that my kids could see it in 10 years, right? And this is to help them. These are like legitimately graphics and notes that I'm going to send to my kids. They're moments of encouragement for my future 7-year-old.
Wonderful.
And it's like, right? That's so cool. Like I might start doing that now. But the thing is, people are going to join in on that and say like, yo, wait, I'm not that kid right now, but I need it right now. And now there's going to be people that are going to join in on this simply because your why is strong. And then 2, it's actually to help someone. So I think I'm not exactly putting my why on a what. My why isn't, hey, I want to make this much money, or, hey, I want to be successful in this area. No, my why is a person. And something that I think we do a lot at TC is we're everything that we're doing is we like have this imaginary person. His name is Stormy. Stormy is a young dude who is like 1 foot in the world, 1 foot in church. His grandma prayed for him, but his homies want him to do like all the things. And like, he loves to wear Jordans, but at the same time, he's like, I want to do right, but like, I don't really know how, but I'm just doing what I can. So like everything that I essentially make is for that one person. And you could even go into that and talk about that's my target audience. But then I came up with this concept called authentic audience. So if that's my target audience, I'm probably actually going to attract people that are attracted to that person. So it's usually like the young woman who's like, yo, like, I think Stormy's cute. Like I'm going to do whatever Stormy's doing because I want to make sure I'm hanging out with Stormy. And now I technically get both of those people, but like, that's
and Stormy's like mom or whoever else he might bring to church or whatever. Exactly.
Stormy's little brother who looks up to him. And like Stormy's friends who they're like, yo, you're different. And it's like, I want to know why you're different. All of those things are like, that's how I kind of like think through everything that I'm making. Like, I want to make sure that I'm reaching that specific person and a couple of other people. I have like different ones. Like there's different age demographics, there's different like life demographics, but that's just one of them that comes to mind. But like what we have done in so many different ways, and we've said it multiple times, like it's not about like reaching and getting 100,000 people saved. Like that's so cool, but like no, like it's for that one person. It's biblical, and it just makes so much sense. And then like once that person gets to where you're believing for, let's get to another person. And that strong why, I think, will carry you, and also keeps your motives pure when it comes to everything that it is that you're doing.
I love that. Sorry, I know Josh, it's your turn, but I love that. I think that's awesome. Like, and that like, and I think I've done that. I've had a stormy, but like without planning it, like secretly, because I know my target audience when I create art in general, like because obviously I have my freelance clients, that's separate, but since we're kind of talking through social, like when I create something on social, my goal is to inspire people, but my target or my stormy, I guess, would be like females, a little bit younger than me, around my age, grew up kind of like millennials, around my age, but to encourage, I don't know, I guess my target audience would be females. And I never really thought about that, but that's interesting that you have like a specific target person in mind, but then also those people that branch off from them, because it makes total sense. I've just never like created that system in a sense, that's cool.
Yeah. And like you can create an entire like my brain is buzzing, but you can create an entire universe around that. Like, okay, so now it's like, this is for that person, but I want to be intentional throughout. So I want to think about that person. And like, when we talk about prayer, it's like, you could say things like the prayer that your grandmother said over your life, or like, that's
gives
such
you
a
a framing.
detail, but it gives you so much framing into how to communicate to a specific person. If you just understand that person's life and what it is that like happened to them. And then you can like dive into psychological things. It's like, this is the part I think is so fun, because I love creating almost like atmospheres and universes for someone to step into when it comes to social, or even like, I want to so bad for our church to feel like a museum, because like whenever I go to a museum, I feel like I'm in a different world. And so on and so forth.
Interesting.
That's cool.
Cool.
All right. This reminded me, I feel like it's a nice culmination of the things we talked about here. So Ashley, I have been feeling the weight, and I want this conversation to extend beyond social, but I keep bringing it back here because that's one of the things on my list. Like I did similar to you, Ruben, and I didn't post for like 2 or 3 weeks. Man, it feels great. And now we're back in the saddle. I need to be posting. I know that all the smart people are saying, dog, your carousel pictures of you posting, lots of logos is going the way of the buffalo. Like you're not going to be able to keep doing that and expect the same results. I know that I still have to stay in the conversation. I still got to keep doing stuff. And so I'm thinking like, okay, I need to be thinking about vertical videos. What does that look like for me? And I'm not excited about a lot of the things that I am seeing out in the world. And so like that's literally what I've been mulling over. Is like, okay, we got to switch our 3 carousels a week to 3 reels a week. Ashley's shtick is great. Like I can't do those, like the stuff, like your sauce is your thing. Like what does that version look like for Josh? And something bubbled up over the Christmas break. My mom said, I love this logo you did. I don't understand most of what you post and like what you're doing, but I love this one. I understand. And I thought about, what if, like, I've been writing emails, so I send like a newsletter out and like post like as if I'm writing to my avatar, Ron. Like it's usually a next gen pastor or a creative director at a church. Like that's who I'm writing for.
Sure.
But I thought, would it be fun for me to have basically for 2023 a new series called I Made This, Mom? And it's me, baby boy Brightcole, showing mom, look what I made. And
I'm so excited.
Like, let me break it down for you. This is why this matters as a non-designer, as a non-logo person, or somebody that, and a lot of times it's not, not that you're not creative or whatever, but you're just not in the room talking about why the squirrel matters in the logo. You're just like, that feels like a random choice. But if you like walk through the brand process, you're like, oh, this is why they did that. And now I love it. Right. And I think that couching those conversations this way will, allow me to kind of like tell the story of how a brand came about in a fun way, rather than just being like the thing I was about to do, which is, here's a logo I made. We picked red because of God's blood, and we love this stuff. And there's a cross hidden in here.
The
right?
blood of Jesus.
Right. Like it just like I was not excited about doing that. And so I knew that walking into it, this is going to be a drag. I'm going to quit after 3 weeks. I need a better plan. I need a thing I am excited about, a spark, a destination that is like worth taking maybe an extra 2 hours to set up the video gear and go do it that way.
Yeah.
Wow. I have a case study.
Okay.
I have an actual like physical, like a social example, and then also a couple ways that you can do this systematically so that you don't burn yourself out.
I'm so excited.
So I'm going to give you the case study first. Do you know who the guy who made Is it Golden Hour? Or Jake
GoldenEye?
is his name?
Oh, never mind.
GoldenEye 007.
I'm
It's a
old.
good game.
I'm old. I thought you were talking about a video game.
Are you talking about like in photography, like the golden hour?
No. There's a guy. He like is a pianist and he's a musician.
We all need to shut up and let Ron.
His name is Jake, right? The A is a V.
Jake Piano Man.
Jake Piano. He's so talented. And I was watching a video on this either last night or the night before. So he made this song called Golden Hour. And what he does is he actually he involves other people into the video. So it's not just like, he's not just saying, hey, I made this song and I really want you to listen to it. He's like, no. This is my art teacher from 20 years ago, or my piano teacher from 20 years ago. And I'm showing her the song that I made for the very first time.
I've seen
I want
it.
you to watch.
I know what you're talking about.
It went like triple platinum, uber viral. And he was playing her this song. And we're like, oh my God, I love this so much. You see her crying. You're like, oh, whoa. I can't believe this is like, it's so beautiful. And the world, we ate it up. And I listen to the song all the time. So that's the case study, right? What he did was he involved someone who is endearing to him, right? And involved them into the process and saying, hey, we're doing this together. And I want you to experience this all. And it's more so about you watching her watch this for the first time, right? That's essentially you doing this with your mom. But the thing is, she doesn't have to be there. Mm-hmm.
That's my thing is my mom is like, if I'm like, Mom, I've got a great idea. I want you on camera with me for the next 52 weeks. She's gonna be like, hell no. Like, I love you, but I'm not getting on screen. I don't have time for this. And I don't no.
You got to trick her into it. You got to turn the camera around. She can't see nothing. You just got to get it's like, I want a pure reaction. But the answer to that problem, I believe, is teaching people. So essentially everyone, this is going to sound weird. Everyone is mom. So like the person that's watching, they are mom. Oh, I don't know what I'm doing. I have no idea what this is. So now what I'm doing is I'm showing you how to do it, and you do it via trends, or not trends, but like a trending sound, but you base it off of the cuts and not what's actually being done. So like you can say like, hey, I'm working on this project and I don't actually necessarily know how to do this. And then you're the answer to the problem. Bright Cole comes up and it's like, wait, you're doing this wrong. Like, did you know that there's an easier way to do this? No, I had no idea. Oh, bet. I'm just going to show you. And then the next clip in the song is super quick. And you're just like doing a faster version of it. And then you just put the description of what you just did in the video. That could easily be a 20-second video. It's going to take a little bit longer than 20 seconds to make. But like now you're utilizing
that is the pain of video.
Yes. That's like majority of what I do. It's terrible. And then you like put it all in the cuts, and it's usually a sound that's already bumping, so people are stoked to listen to it. Sure. They're watching you teach them, and I walk away with information that I didn't know before. So like, interesting. Still the same series, right? It's all in your wheelhouse. The only thing is you just have to figure out how to get yours. Like, it's so simple that all you're doing is saying you can use the same video templates, which is you can use the same video, like you working on something and the computer's just different. Run the same play. You're wearing a different outfit. You're like, yo, bro, I can teach you how to do this. Boom, boom, boom. And you can run that for the entire year. And then you can actually post the graphic that you made And now that's another post that you didn't have to work for. And then you can also do another carousel of how you actually did it step by step. And then that could be a carousel. Now you have 3 different posts from the same thing.
Yeah. I love that.
Wow. Cool. I think we should start a new weekly podcast where we just give all our ideas to Ron.
No, for real.
And he just tells us how to do it.
Yeah.
How do I make this better, Ron?
I'm learning a lot here.
Yeah.
I'm all about like pulling content out of something. Like literally my job at TC, like one of my jobs at TC is to watch the sermon and see how I can pull like 50 different pieces of content out of it. And then, but like, and now I do that for other people and they pay me mad money to just watch their sermon and be like, oh, you can make this as a graphic. You can do this as a sermon clip. And then, oh, like this could be a tweet, like yada, yada. And like, I'll give you 10, 15 pieces of content and they're good.
Yeah. That feels like every videographer or editor needs to be like, that's your new side hustle is learn how to be a picker or cutter or whatever the term is. Cause I feel like everybody has that, like, here's 45 minutes of my speech, or here's like, especially in the church context, like, hey, like we have a sermon. How do you like turn this into a bunch of usable elements?
100%.
That is a job of the future. I don't care if the robot's doing the actual editing or not. Like you saying this time marker to this time marker. That's the sauce. Hey, you mentioned something in there that how do you pick your tracks for your reels? Because I know that there's accounts that are like, this one's gonna blow up, and like those are like, follow me for more tips. Like I don't want to do that. And also like anytime I try and search, like, okay, I got a reel, I want to do a song. Like it's recommending all these songs to me that sound like stuff that I like that have 200 listens. Yeah. And so like, how do you like lean into the trends with your audio?
So a lot of it is just paying attention. So like, if you're on TikTok at all and you've seen the TikTok 2 to 3 times, it's probably trending. And it won't take long for you to notice that. You're like, I've heard that before. Or your brain, oh my gosh, your brain knows what's trending because somehow, some type of way, all of us are connected. That's why I said that Golden Hour song. And Ash, you were like, oh, I know it.
Yeah,
even though that was older, like it's the same concept. If it clicks in your brain, you're like, oh, that sounds like I get it. It's probably going to trend, but you kind of have to watch it. So then this is the trend watch part. Look on TikTok. If it's like about 10,000 uses, it's moving. And then you check it the next day and it's at 17 or 24 or 56. That means that you low-key missed your mark because that means thousands of people are utilizing this trend and you should have been the person at 10,001. So that those 34,000 people that were kind of basing their next video off of what it is that you made, you could have been that person. But then it takes about 2 weeks for that to transfer over to Instagram. And the nuance in how people think on Instagram is so different. But how you know something is trending on Instagram, usually it'll have that upward arrow, right? So I'm not even gonna mess with nothing that don't have an upward arrow. And then you click that sound, and if it's got less than 500, just hold on to it. Just like wait for it, see if it's gonna do something later. But if it's at like 1,000 to 5,000, then it's probably gonna do pretty well because Instagram's saying that this, in comparison to all the amount of users that are using Instagram, this is a nice little chunk. So if you use this, we'll boost you. So if it's anywhere between like there and an even 10,000, that's like a really good sound to use. But if it's in the 300,000, if it's up there, it'll probably get lost in the sauce. But you want to get in there before it goes
them on the rise. Yeah.
Catch it. Because that's really what it is. Like a trend is just you riding the wave. It's not selling out.
I've always been bad at that. Always.
And then you see people like make a video 8 months later to a trend that was like last year, and you're like, you had 8 months to find a new one. Like just click the reel button, scroll up 5 times, and you'll see something. So that was
the thing I struggle with when I'm doing reels, like, because I mean, like ones that do really not really well. I mean, none of mine do like really well, but I'm saying for me, the ones that do better are usually when I do like a time lapse of me creating a design. Like those usually do pretty well. Or the ones that I've noticed, or maybe not even noticed, but let me ask you this, Ron. Like ones that I struggle with doing the trend, like doing exactly what, like, so like I'll see, I don't know, I can't think of one, but where like there's a prompt and like it's like post this and do like point and like do like, I hate that kind of stuff. I like creating new things, but then I know sometimes that doesn't work. But I really enjoy doing like the voiceovers, but I don't know if those are stupid now. Like, is that like old? Like, is that an old person thing? Because I feel like I always see like women, like older women doing that. Is that stupid?
Girly pop, let me tell you right now.
Nobody talks on Instagram anymore.
Voiceovers, vlogs, like you sitting in the car and having a conversation, all that is in 2023 is the year that's going to pop. I've been looking at certain people on TikTok and Instagram, and all their videos are them in the car talking. First of all, what are you talking about that's important? Like, I want to know what's happening in your life that makes your life so important that you just sat in the car and complained about whatever happened, and 100,000 people decided to listen. So
that is the year for that.
Those
people who are just like counts of thoughts.
Maybe I said it wrong, because I don't do that. I don't sit and talk to like my camera. Like, I'll do that on stories, like very rarely. No, the ones I'm talking about is when it's like audio and like you're voicing,
that
like
works
you're
too.
like doing like a movie, like something, I don't know.
I'm like weirdly obsessed with them. I like will sit and listen to the whole thing. I'm not even kidding you.
Okay, well, that's good to know, because I didn't know if that's kind of like moving its way out. So if I should stop doing that.
I want to say to everyone, like, if you're watching this video, this is not the year to think that's lame. Like, I've been talking to a couple of friends and they're like, oh, that gives me the ick. I'm like, that's lame. First of all, it's not icky when you out here with 500,000 followers on Instagram, and that's actually paying more than the bills, and you can pay other people's bills, and it's changed your life and your friend's life, and you actually now have influence. And whenever God gives you something, you can actually impart that into other people. This is the year I don't give a rip about an ick. I'm going to go all out
about
everything, because like that's exactly what happened to me. 2020, I started on TikTok. And I was having so much fun. Oh my gosh. I would go home and make like 5 or 6 TikToks. I learned all the dances. I was like understanding the algorithm. Like, almost every video I did like at least 50,000. It was so fun. Like, it was just fun.
It's wild.
And this is so dumb, but like my whole church made fun of me. Like, everyone on staff was like, it's TikTok Ron. And I was like,
TikTok Ron.
And they were just like, hey, Ron. And I was like, bro, that's not what's happening. Like, I just got like mad jobs. I just got like like, this is what's happening. And I was so bummed, but they made fun of me so much that I stopped making TikToks. And man, what happened in the back of my mind is, this is embarrassing and they're going to keep talking about it. But the thing was, I would go other places around the country and they're like, yo, I saw your TikTok and it was so inspiring. Like, and I was like, how is Timmy in Naugatuck talking about how this is inspiring him, but all my homies at work are like,
yeah.
And I'm like, I haven't even done that dance.
No respect at your hometown.
No respect.
Here's
Nazareth.
Here's a fun one for you guys. I live in a medium-sized town, and there's 5, maybe 6 big churches here. When I say big, like it's not mega church size, even like a couple thousand members. I have been hired and fired by all of these churches. I've been fired by every church in the area. I've not done any logos for any of these churches. They're you just get no love in the hometown.
Wow, that's encouraging.
Yeah, I told somebody that on a call the other day, and they were like, wait, is this the guy we hired? Everybody that knows him really well fired him. I was like, I need to keep that story on lock and stop using it. But here it is again. You're welcome, guys.
It's now part of your testimony. Every time you go like speak anywhere, I got hired and fired at every church in my city, but I'm here now.
That's funny.
But God, that's great.
But God.
No, that's all right. So I have another technical question here. If we're thinking vertical video is the sauce for 2023, I've also been like strictly Instagram, and it gives me gas saying like, oh God, like, and when I say gas, I don't mean like it's cool as hype. I mean like it makes me feel the farts. Like I'm unhappy.
Where are you from?
There's an 86-year-old man living in this body. That's
the guy from Up. That's you. He's living in here right now.
Curmudgeon. All right, so I'm just sitting here thinking like, all right, making the interesting video is step one. Like, good job, achievement. You did that. Now you're telling me I need to go re-edit and upload it on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. Like I want to like have my one thing and just all right, go. go do it. I will barely spend the time to go post it all the other places because I don't want to spread myself too thin. Like that consistency, sustainability thing. I don't want to come out of the gate posting to 4 platforms, and I quit again week 3 because like it's a lot, man. We're all trying to do a real job outside of telling people we do a real job, you know?
Yeah. I mean, let's be real. Like at the beginning of the show, you guys said you guys are so old. I mean, I'm 36. Like I'm quite a bit older than you guys. And like, to be honest, like sometimes I feel like I'm getting too old to like be on social media all the time. Like I'm a mother of 3. Like I don't want to like have to constantly be creating all this stuff, and I don't want.
I made 3 kids. You want me to make reels now?
What else do you want me to do?
That's a valid point.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. Like I made a TikTok, but I have no desire to go on there to check it. To like, I don't want to have to build another
platform
app. Like I don't want to do that.
That's
like
the worst.
we've done it. MySpace is done. Like we built it. We built the Facebooks. We built the Instagrams. Like I don't want to do another one. Like I'm just like I'm kind of over it. Like I'm
Resident millennials have been through 4 different big platforms now.
Like,
we're like, I'm tired. Can I get off yet?
Don't forget Tumblr.
I was never involved in the Tumblr community. I wasn't a Tumblr girl. I don't know. But
Ash, can I ask you a question?
What do I do? Yes, go ahead.
Where do you spend most of your time? Like on social? Where do you enjoy?
Instagram, for sure.
Instagram? What about Pinterest? Do you like Pinterest?
Oh, I love Pinterest. That's another one I'm trying to, and it's funny you say that. I literally yesterday, I just got my shop finally working on Pinterest. And this has took me, no joke, years. Like I have not been able to figure it out, and I got it done yesterday. So I'm super excited.
You really are perfect for that.
Yeah, I was just see it.
And they make the most money.
My reach on Pinterest is far, like way greater than Instagram.
Yep.
And I don't do anything on Pinterest other than just post what I post on Instagram. Like I just repost it. But that's what I want to learn how to do, is be a Pinterest.
Well, I feel like that might be a good one for you to explore in this year's like, all right, what does it look like if I cut my time in half on Instagram and instead like really double down on Pinterest? Like I make the fun videos that I want to make. I don't care if they're as efficient or like volatile as possible, but then like I'm really getting strategic on Pinterest and turning that into either a sales funnel or like lead gen for projects. Like, cause now you have physical products. You could put a cute thing on Pinterest and like, hey, buy the thing. Like they love that. Like Pinterest is all about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, just Ron, I'm sure you've got a load of insight into this, but I guess just from my perspective, I think like I could have gone onto TikTok and I think there was a point where I was seriously debating it. But I was like, I don't have TikTok downloaded. I don't spend time on TikTok. Like I would be learning TikTok specifically to make TikToks. Like I don't spend my time there. So I'm already disconnected from the audience in a certain respect because I'm not a TikToker. Like I don't spend my time on there, but I do spend a lot of my time on Instagram. So I kind of doubled down on that, and I spent a lot of time on YouTube. And so I spent a lot of time on that. And Pinterest is an area that I'm definitely interested in as well, because I spend a lot of time there as a designer. There's different audiences on different things, but I think if you're passionate about what you're on, or you spend a lot of time, you kind of know how it works, and you're able to then take your content and fit it in with something you already understand.
Yeah.
And I think like you're talking about like wanting to, if you're not necessarily wanting to learn a whole new platform, I don't think you need to. I think you just do like the things you enjoy. Yeah. And I think you'll have far more success posting something you enjoy and doing it out of a joyful place and something that gives you life, as opposed to trying to force it on another platform. Because I think you'll actually have less traction on a platform that's, let's say for TikTok's taking off, right? If you post on TikTok and you don't enjoy it, I don't think you'll find the traction there.
Yeah.
You can see that when something's forced. But Ron,
or when something was made for a different platform, and then it, like you see, it's all like been pumped through Hootsuite or some other system, and you're like, this does not play well on Twitter. Like this is a link to an image, and the URL is Instagram. Like if Twitter is what you're trying to grow, and you're like feeding things through that other thing, and you're not a Twitter user, like you're saying, Ruben, not only are you going to run out of the desire to do that, but you're just not going to play that game well.
Yeah.
That's good. I heard about a website that if you put something on Google Drive, you can set it up to post everywhere.
Wow.
I forgot what it is. This is a useless part of the conversation. I wasn't going to say anything.
I have
a
magic wand, but I don't know what it is.
I will, if you contact me afterwards, you give me some time, I will figure it out for you. But I literally found it just scrolling on TikTok, and they're like, "Are you tired of posting everywhere? Is this annoying?" And I was like, "Yes, that's me. I'm sick and tired of being sick and how did they know? It's a For You page." And there is an automated thingamabob where it'll take something from Google, and also you just write some notes, and it will post to every platform that you have connected to it. And cool. It can also write a blog, which I think is crazy. But you can do all those things based on one post. Have I used it? No. I feel like I have a really solid system so far.
The untested magic wand. I love it.
Untested magic wand.
That we can't find. Man, I love that concept.
I trust TikTok with my life at this point. If multiple people say it on TikTok, I'm good. I don't even have to. Like, I'm about to buy. These are not my AirPod Maxes. I found someone on TikTok saying that they bought AirPod Maxes via like DHgate on TikTok, and every single comment was like, "I have these. They're amazing." Like, and I like checked it. Like, they're like real people, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm buying them because these are $400 or $500 on DHgate. They're $170." And I'm like, "Wait, if this is a real live, real world test, I'm just gonna go ahead and buy these fake AirPod Maxes and be like,
if people like the fakes, hey." Roll with it, baby.
It's funny.
Yeah.
For everybody listening here, as we're kind of wrapping up the scheduled programming here for today, I do want you to be thinking about, as you're processing your goals and the things that you're trying to achieve. We've talked a lot about social, but there's other things that you may want to do, or like mountains you're staring down. You're like, I want to make progress on this. I wish I could play piano. Or in my case, I wish I could do hand lettering. This was something I said a few years ago. And like, you can get there, and like, you just figure out, you may not know all the steps along the way, but finding something that you love enough to get through the days when you're not feeling it, or to get through the stages of growing in a new skill, maybe, where you're like, I suck at this and it is uncomfortable and unpleasant. I just spent 45 minutes and I don't like the thing I'm looking at. Like, if you find stuff that is worth getting to the other side, and then you build some systems around it, the system matters a lot less than like you sticking with it. And I think everybody here has had some great notes on this one. Jelly Smack is something that Matthew Gillespie has mentioned. For video redistribution. That is an interesting one we might have to check out here. But
Matthew, I appreciate you and your entire ministry.
Jelly Smack. Content creator for amplification somethings. Share screen. Bing bong.
Bing bong.
Hopefully I got the right one here. Ooh.
Nice loading animation. Yeah. Look at this.
For creators, for media companies, for brands.
It's giving fantastic.
Wow.
This is giving Creative 24 vibes.
It is giving Creative 24 vibes, yeah.
I see that. Oh, I'm overwhelmed. Oh, Grandpa needs something to read. Wait, can we just
take it to the next level? What did it say?
I'm going to do get in touch.
Jelly Smack helps creators grow their communities and maximize their. Oh,
all right. Word to the wise, guys. This is web design 101. They have made a interesting, dynamic website. I don't know what the heck to do. I barely know what you do, and I don't know what my next step is. They have failed on the fundamental.
You're looking for an about page, aren't you?
I'm looking for a free trial. Download the app, do the thing, see the video, how it works. Here's pricing. Like what is my next step? I want to do your thing, and they can't tell me that. Create a program.
Get the most out of your videos. Get started.
I've read a lot, and I clicked 4 things to get here, and now I've got a dome.
I accomplished nothing.
Go bigger.
There isn't about this page though.
Now, am I going to look at this more, and is it the secret sauce? Probably. But from a web experience, which this segment has turned into, that they got 0 stars. They got two.
Does it
2
scale
out of 5
though?
stars.
Does it scale?
Does it scale?
Does it scale?
Come on, does it scale? Let's check.
It's got to, man. It's 2023, baby.
Yeah,
Everything
there
scales.
We go. It scales.
I remember,
okay.
y'all. You want to talk about dusty old fart, Grandpa Josh over here? I remember when we would have meetings with clients, and I would show them pictures and say, "This is what a responsive website is. See, it's big, and then it gets little because people use their phones to look at your website." We were walking clients through this because that was news at the time. That was a feature.
Wow.
That was a feature you had to sell people on. I was like, hey, you need to think about what your website looks like on a phone. Like a
think
telephone.
about mobile.
Exactly. That was many moons ago. All right, Matthews, bro, we are not coming for your life. I was really just ripping into this thing for fun. And thank you for contributing. I am gonna take a look at it, and it could be a fantastic tool.
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
Ash, we missed one of our intro segments, so we're gonna bring it up now. We got How It's Made is another segment that we have introduced in season 2.
I will want to say with Ron's, it wasn't necessarily a piece of art, but it is something he posted that I thought would be interesting to talk about because I thought it was really cool. So I don't know.
Please tell me it's the Spider-Man mask because I need to know why.
That is cool. We can do that instead.
He's got it. He's gonna get it.
He's gonna get it. I wasn't sure how committed you were to the.
I have my red one in the car, but this is my black one, and it's like.
Do you have the full costume?
No. I'm not that dedicated. I love Spider-Man though, but like,
because I was gonna say my kids, like, if you like made a video wearing the costume, like my kids would poop their pants. Like they would be so excited.
I'm ready for parties. Like hire me for parties, girly. Like,
I love that.
No, legitimately, here in Albuquerque, there is a YouTuber that buys legitimate Spider-Man costumes, like from the movies, and he does parties and he does like. He films himself on the buildings and stuff. And I was like, that'd be so cool to hire him for one of the.
Why am I so hyped right now? That's crazy. I'm going to put on the mask. I'm just going to.
Do it.
So Ash, I saw like the wish.com version of what you just described walking down Washington Road the other day. And he had like the kind that you buy for 6-year-olds where it's got like the Velcro in the back. That's what he was wearing. It was like those little stretchy suits. And he's carrying some groceries. Fully like masked up, just walking down the street. He does not have the textured, cool, like legit version that Ron's got here.
See, that's what Ron. You need the whole outfit, so then you can like literally start doing appearances there in Tulsa, and you get paid buco bucks for birthday parties because kids will freak out.
Ron's new side hustle is Spider-Man.
For real.
Ash, did you have a post that you wanted to hit here?
Well, it go up.
Spider-Man join us.
No. It was the one I did is right there in the middle where he's leaning on his Tesla.
All right.
But I don't know if that's a not a good one to pick because it's not really art. But I just thought it was cool because he's talking about he got his Tesla, so I thought we could talk about it.
I love that. Yeah, you want to unpack this one for us, Ron? What's happening here? You're muted, dog.
I was like,
you're spider muted.
Mask.
I was going. So this is actually a whole story within itself. So this is my new car. I just got this like a month ago. Wow, I'm so dedicated.
I'm so muffled right now. It's funny.
No, I love it. For the podcast listeners, he is currently wearing a mask.
I'm wearing a full-on Spider-Man mask. I'll project. I'll talk a little bit louder. Okay,
that's good.
So I just got this car like a month and a half ago, and the story goes like when I was like 20 or something like that, I went to counseling, and my counselor was like, "Hey, bro, like, what's your favorite car?" And I was like, "That's a weird question to ask during counseling, sir."
Yeah.
And by the end of the counseling session, he was like, "Rohn, you are the Tesla." And I just randomly picked a car. I'm not gonna do this. Hold on.
It almost sounds like he's at the dentist and he has like those cotton things in his mouth. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I get you.
Yeah.
I love that.
Okay. Awesome. So he told me, he was like, "You're the Tesla." And I was like, that's kind of crazy. So I folded up the paper, put it in my car, didn't think about it. Years later, my friend is like, "Hey, I need you to take my pictures for my engagement." I was like, "Okay, cool." He flies me to Canada. We take pictures in Canada, and he takes pictures on this thing called Starling Vineyard. And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, wait, like that's my last name." Like he was like, "That's wild." And then we're driving back home in his Tesla. And the whole time, God's like, "Bro, you're going to get a Tesla." And I'm like, that's kind of crazy because like, I'm not going to get a Tesla. I'm broke. He's like, "No, you're going to get a Tesla." So that same week, I go in my trunk and I find the paper from years ago saying that I'm the Tesla. I was like, oh, I'm getting a Tesla. Then I moved to Oklahoma, and God was like, it's either get a Tesla or move to Tulsa. And I was like, dang, okay, I'm going to move to Tulsa. Shout out to Jesus. And then we were doing this thing at my church called Crazy Faith Card. So I write on my Crazy Faith card, I will own a Tesla, right? The next day, I was negative in my bank account. So that was not fun. But the next week, I got the car. So if you scroll to the next picture, oh
gosh, hang on, Grandpa's
no.
Trying to,
a little arrow.
There we go. There it is.
I know
that. If you scroll to the next picture, I got that car the next week. So that picture is from 2021, December of 2021.
Okay.
And that one's from 2022. So
that's so cool.
I got the Tesla the next week, right? And in this moment, right before I said this, he gave me the keys, and God said, these are not your keys. You bought this for someone else. And I was like, are you serious, God? Like, is that what's really happening?
Oh, shoot.
From that day, December 15, 2021, I was looking for someone to give my car to. And I found the person I was going to give the car to. And in like September, I was like, hey, man, I think this is your car. So I think it was the next month or something like that, I ended up giving him the keys to my car, and I was like, you don't have to give it back. Like, I'm going to take care of everything, but you need a car. I don't need a car. So you just take this one. And I was like, I don't want to do this. And it just hurt my heart so bad. But I knew for the whole year that I was giving the car away. And then that November, I ended up like buying another Tesla, because I was like, I'm not going to drive not a Tesla. Like, come on.
You've tasted and seen now. You drove it around for a year. You're ready.
So I ended up buying another one, but it took forever to get delivered. So I was carless for like a month. And then, God just came through, and I got a new car, and then he got his car. We both got our cars. And then he told me that he also went to counseling, and in counseling, he found out that like he wanted a Tesla. And I was like, that is so wild that even happened that way, because that's how I ended up deciding that I wanted one. So,
man, that is crazy. Great
story.
Question. Good pick, actually.
Is Elon Musk your therapist? Because he's doing some good stuff here. That's a business.
You know what you
there.
need? I know exactly.
That's so good.
Oh my exactly goodness. What you're thinking. Ash, what was our pick for?
The one, hold on, go slow. Which one was it? Go down a little bit. No, down.
God. You're killing me, Smalls.
Okay, right. Where is it at? Keep going. Oh, that one. I like right there. Of peace, there will be no end. I just like the colors in that one, so that's why I picked it.
That's
wow.
Cool.
That's a real nice color.
I have no story. There's no divine inspiration for this one.
The reason I like the reason I
sorry, you go ahead.
No, I was gonna say the reason I picked it is because that first picture, go back to the first one, that looks like New Mexico, and the actual sky and stuff. I don't think it is, but it just reminds me of home. So that's why I like it.
Well,
I love
it's funny you should say that, because I was on Unsplash and I looked at that and thought, I'm going to be on this podcast in 3 weeks. Yeah. And I know that Ash will see this photo and say, this looks like New Mexico. No, I don't even know what to say. Unsplash, download the photo.
Yeah.
Choose a couple of fonts, choose a color that goes nicely. And then I will say, actually, the color variations, I tend to pull colors from the first image and then do like some kind of color with it.
Yeah, scroll through them.
Like scroll. I think the next one's dark blue, so I don't know how that works. Okay, so if you go back one.
Back.
Only forward.
Okay, that's how we do things.
Other way.
So go right. So the color of the text is the color of like the pink sky.
Yeah.
Okay.
The dark blue is just a nice accent.
A little flow to it, yeah.
Cool. Yeah, so it kind of, they all seem to line up. The reason why I do variations, just so you know, is actually my wife's Megan's idea about a year and a half ago. She said, people share your stuff, but they always say like that they would love it if it had something else to it, a different variation. So I produced 4. And then if I look at my like view story reshares, there's blocks of these different ones that have been shared.
Yeah.
And so if I wouldn't get those shares if I only did 1 variation, so that's why I do 4.
How often do you guess the winner, like the one that everybody loves?
That's a good question.
Guess the how do you what the
like say like if I'm posting it, like clearly this is the first one. You say this is my favorite. I like this one.
My favorite. Yeah.
Okay, so let's take this one here,
brown
and then we'll go to view story reshares, and then we can kind of have a look at the colors. So it will load in a second.
God.
So what will tend to happen is you'll get the first.
Share's going crazy.
But you will see like so I thought the brown and orange would do well, but the brown and orange didn't do very well. The ones that did well was the first image.
Okay.
So it's strange. It changes all the time. It depends on like just the colors and stuff. I also like that one, but that one didn't seem to do too well either.
Yeah. Is that Ruben? Do you feel like that, like as far as shareability of your posts, has been a big part of the growth you've seen on social?
Absolutely. Yeah. When I first started, it was a designer for designers. So that first year was like, how do I take God's word and make it, design it in a way that helps people to think differently, inspires them, but also pushes me creatively. And then the second year, 2021, I really started to see like, okay, this is not just designers seeing this, is other people.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, how do I now tweak this for this wider audience that's just showed up? And so that's why I kind of stepped off doing like more design inspiration stuff on the main page. And that's where YouTube comes in, because I've sort of ported that audience over to there and made that more about tips, tricks, how to resource creative. So I haven't like left that audience behind. I've just kind of adapted how things work.
That's interesting, because that's something that I've wrestled with as far as my social, because like I said earlier, when we were talking about Ron, remind me again of your what's his name? Your target audience guy? Stormy. When we were talking about Stormy. Like so that's something that I struggle with sometimes with social, because sometimes I think when I'm creating something, I'm speaking to creatives, like to other designers, but then also I want to reach people that could be potential clients, like overall. And then, but I also want to inspire just like the normal girl or whatever. Yeah. So I guess like, what in your guys' opinion, as far as Instagram, because that's my main thing, and maybe even Pinterest a little bit, like who do you think, if my ultimate goal is to gain like clients, but also inspire people, who should I be speaking to? Like, should I even be like thinking of other designers, like, and posting like funny things for them, or should I not even like touch that? You know?
So Ron, do you want to go first, or should I just jump in?
You answer, because I want to understand the question differently.
Okay, so I would say that the majority of my clients come through relationships, not through the content that I post. So they might come through the door by seeing a post that I've made, but then I will build relationships with those people in DMs, right? Yeah. And I was talking to someone the other day actually, and I found that most creative directors are on Facebook. And because they're 35 plus, they have a family, and they'll post pictures of their kids on Facebook and stuff like that. They're in the creative church groups, Pro Church Media, Creative Church. Building a relationship with them is one of the ways that you can find how to, I don't know, or just even, so firstly, I don't do it to get opportunities. I do it just to build a relationship and find out what's going on. But what I do find is that once I do it for opportunities. That's more honest than I am. But so for example, Church Media Squad, the guy who heads that up, Mike, I've been friends with him on Facebook for years. We don't work together. Like, he hasn't offered me a job or anything, but I have that relationship there. And he'll show pictures of the meat he's cooking on Christmas Day. And like,
he loves some meat, doesn't he?
I'll comment. Like, I'm actually genuinely interested in what these guys are up to, because that's where I want to be at some point. So I'm kind of looking at that down the line and seeing how they run a family and do things creatively. And so Facebook is actually one of the number ones, not because of the content I'm posting, but the relationships that I'm building. Instagram's great for that too. And I think Pinterest will be a great like director for you. Like, it's like a funnel. It's gonna send people to a certain place. But I don't know about many people that have built relationships through Pinterest. So I think it is lots of different weightings.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah,
Pinterest is interesting. Sorry.
Oh no, I was gonna say that's interesting what he's saying about the Facebook thing. I never even thought about that.
I didn't know that either. But that's so true, because everyone that I have ever met that's doing this at the level that I am, I met them on Facebook first. Like, that's so hilarious. Ruben, I've seen your stuff on Facebook. I've seen you communicating in chats on Facebook, but we have connected on Instagram. I have multiple things. First thing is, different channels do different things, but they're all about relationships. Like it's the thing about social media. It's social, but we just forget to do that part. We just focus really heavy on the media part.
Yeah.
But if you post something and 500 people share it, just imagine, right? It's not really about the shares. Everyone probably gets about, at least, let's just say on the low end, 100 views on their story, right? If someone shares my story, there's 100 opportunities for that to be shared to a businessman, a businesswoman, a new client, or whatever. So now, what 100 times 500 is? Is that what 50,000? That's or 5,000? I don't know. It's a lot. 50,000. I'm sure it's 50,000. It's 50,000. So like, I'm thinking about like. Again, for the one, I'll post something for only one set of eyes to see. Like I might repost a sermon clip that I've pieced together and made, and to another pastor, they're like, "Yo, I need that." But I might not follow that pastor, but my friend might repost it because it actually resonates with them.
Yeah.
And then they're like, "Yo, who made that?" That it doesn't take that much for them to connect and be like, "Oh, Ron made this." And then they can say, "Hey, I need 7
TikTok
of those."
Ronnie made it.
You know what I'm saying? And then it's so I think like I'm not exactly posting with the hopes of that happening, but the more shares, the better, because I know that there's a new audience and a new set of eyes and a new opportunity for it to reach someone.
Yeah.
That's good.
Interesting. That's cool.
Ruben, I have a question.
Yeah, go for it.
Do you ever make reels of those?
Of what?
Like,
the content that I design?
Yeah, like
process video.
Like not even. You could just do like there's a website similar to Unsplash, but specifically for videos that are aesthetic like that. And you could just steal a video
what
that
is
has
that
clouds.
Website? Do you know?
I will. It's in my notes.
Pexels has videos like that.
Yes.
Pexels. Okay.
Yeah,
so
and you just have like water flowing, and you got a static
yeah.
graphic laying on top of it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
So I sort of had this. This was last year. I started doing reels, so I do one reel a week, but the reel isn't edited in Premiere. It's just on a phone, and it's literally just me setting up the message in a real space and filming that. So how that? So
Josh, can you bring one of those up?
See if you can have
like
a look.
Like the computer one where it like spells, it says something.
Yeah,
you've been crushing those.
Thanks, and that's. I think. I was mainly inspired by We're Not Really Strangers.
We're Not Really Strangers. That's my biggest
like
when I started seeing your reels like that, Ruben, that like yours were one of the first ones that I had seen doing that style of video, which is super cool. And now I see that a lot more.
Ruben single-handedly, I'm not even going to cap. You single-handedly brought that into the church world. I'm so serious.
No, I tell you, there was one that brought it into the church world, and it was this coffee pour that happened probably over a year ago.
Yes.
That coffee, we shared that on Pro Church Media probably like a year ago. And
that got this thing?
So that kind of thing.
It's
so
like physically, like an actual video.
And then I've got some of my friends commenting there, so that's nice.
It's cool.
Wait, so what if you just took any of these, literally any of these, like God make beauty out of chaos, and put that behind a video with the same aesthetic, right, as like the rocky road you got over here, and then just have it go for 7 seconds, and then like copy. You can have the graphic on your phone, copy and paste it over the video in Reels.
Is that a good time to do 7 seconds? Because I do those type of reels, and I notice those ones don't do very well for my page. Like as far as a graphic over like a motion background. Sometimes they do okay, but is 7 seconds like an ideal time? Because I usually do about 15 seconds. Is that too long for that?
15 seconds is too long because you don't like, because it's like
nobody's gonna sit there and watch static graphic.
So if you have a lot of words and the video is a short period of time, like 3 to 4 seconds, it's gonna take them a long time to read the words anyways. So like you get 3 to 4 views just off of that. But if the words faded and it said God made beauty out of chaos, that right there, and then it went on beat to the song, and then you only did 4 seconds of the song or 7 seconds of the song, I think personally it'll do well, especially if it's a trending song with the right aesthetic behind it. Like don't put a hip-hop beat behind that. We're not putting that's not happening. But like some like Novo Amor or like anything in that like realm, like where it's like and you just hear the piano and it's like, and it kind of just it was like, ooh, that's moving, because this is a moving thing. And like, you couple, I'm telling you right now, Ruben, if you did that, it'll definitely do 20K. And I'm okay with 20,000, because if you do 20,000 5 times, that's 100,000.
Yeah,
that's a lot. I ain't never seen that many people at once. So
no, it's definitely making me think about content this year. I think the one of the reasons why I didn't venture into that, and I'm excited to get to this, but one of the reasons I didn't venture into that last year was because I every reel I'd seen that had done well had, I don't know if it's an algorithmic thing, most of them had been filmed on an iPhone. And as soon as you took it into Premiere and exported it in Premiere, I don't know if it was just whether I'm just reading this wrong, it seemed to not perform as well.
That's valid.
And I think it's that authenticity, like that real world, like seeing it through a camera. So I need to work a way to bridge those two, I think. But you're giving me things to think about. I should pay you for your time, Ron.
I love it. That's really what making a mark is, like free coaching for all of us.
Yeah. For me, basically. Like,
I love it. Well, guys,
I'm just grateful to have a conversation, because I've admired all of you from afar for the last year and some change. And I remember jumping on a Bright Coal Instagram live forever ago. And the whole time, and I think, Ruben, you were talking with Josh, and I was like, I just want to be friends. Like, I just, like, can we hang out?
Can we hang out? I love that. I also love that, like, I think that's the beauty of this thing. Like, I get a lot of value out of it. Like, I get to meet new people. We get to have great conversations and learn stuff. And I don't know, there's like 6 reasons why I do this show. And I'm glad to hear that you guys as guests are having a lot of those same kind of experiences. But guys, as we're landing the plane today, it's time to, in the namesake of the show, make a mark together. So we're gonna start a timer. We're all gonna have 60 seconds to doodle the prompt that was given to us in the comments earlier. We're gonna be doing Spider-Man. And this is going to live in the actual like thumbnail for the episode. So I'm going to ask you guys to send me your beautiful artworks after we do them. Also, those of you who are watching live, or even if you're restreaming later in a pretty short order here, go ahead and whip out your Sharpie and your 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper and draw nice and fat, because these are going to be like icon-sized little bad boys.
How much time do we have again?
We got 60 seconds, and if you send that to us at hello@brightcoal.com, we are going to include them in the cover art. And I love for this to feel like a little community moment that we're having here. If you want to draw Spider-Man doing something, like planning out his social calendar for the year, or riding a bike, or thinking about what moves his heart, you can do that as well. I think we're really
driving a Tesla.
Spider-Man on an iPhone, driving a Tesla.
Yeah, wearing a Spider-Man mask.
I think we're going to be struggling enough just to have bad Spider-Man masks in the
60 seconds.
Here.
Yeah, I've got to think about what it is.
So yeah, draw fat and ready, set, go.
Okay.
Can I just say, I just started over Christmas.
Oh, which way do his eyes go?
Crap. They're like triangular on the outside. Like this.
That's what I'm realizing now.
It's like an alien kind of. It is.
No, I'm not laughing at that. I'm laughing as usual at the beautiful artworks that I have created today. In today's episode, he's Basketball Man. He is not Spider-Man.
I can't believe I only have 60 seconds.
Well, that keeps us all honest, because some people can actually draw and you can't let them have more time. Like the cracks really start widening after somebody has a second to sketch. I'm curious if some of our previous guests actually have cheated, because and that's it. Pencils down.
No,
because I see
kidding.
I see some magic sauce that they've put out.
Dang it! Mine's like a halfway.
I just got eyes, y'all.
All right,
I just
you
got
eyes.
That's pretty good.
Hey, that's pretty epic, though. What you got, Ash? Let me see halfway.
Wow.
See, looks like spider
it's kind
web,
of tough, though.
I was working on the web,
like...
and I ran out of time.
Yep. All right, Ruben. Show us.
I
what
cheated.
You got.
I'm sorry, guys. I went for a more
That's cooler though.
And I had to add all these exclamation marks.
That is really not fair.
Because I didn't.
That's going in the graphic.
So
there's
a spider there.
Spider,
That's
man.
awesome.
I love that. See, that's why we do these. Like, you never know. Like, I went for the pretty on the nose, bad rendition of Spider-Man. Ron did the more cryptic, like just the eyes, which is honestly a better approach because you can pull that off more quickly and it actually looked nice. And then Ashley started going down the road and actually making something that looked like a Spider-Man. Yeah. So yes, just shoot me, like it can be like an iPhone image or whatever, but just send that stuff to us so we can include it in the artworks. Yeah, guys, this has been fantastic. Thanks again to our hosts. I mean, not our hosts. Yeah, thank you, Ashley.
Thanks again to our hosts. Thank you so much.
Thank you to our guests. We'll have links for everybody down in the show notes. Tune in live weeklies on Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern for this presentation on YouTube, and then the podcast drops Tuesday the following week. Guys, follow us on Instagram at Making a Mark Pod if you want to vote on topics or just kind of keep up to date with everything. Like, subscribe, and share a link to the episode with one friend. Until next time, adios.
Thanks, guys.
Hang on. I'm ending the broadcast.